Okay, well, here we are. I we aren't recording as of this date. I invited all three candidates for Ward One of Panama City. That's my ward. I invited them to try and record some with the podcast. No responses. Nobody. I don't know what's going on. So hopefully it's just lost in the mix. But yeah, I don't know. As a local podcast producer that lives in the ward, I don't know why I'm not getting a response to reach out to them to get to know my candidates better. But, anyways, I'm just doing this podcast, doing my thing, and moving on with life. And today is a significant day because this is the day that kind of I say we stopped shooting when we were in Iraq, and it's one of those things where I remember getting back in 2003 and being told shortly after we had returned home that we weren't greeted as liberators or with flowers, but I was like, I have pictures, and hopefully we'll get out some of the pictures of that. But, honestly, because of the way I got kind of, I guess, gaslighted as a veteran, being told that something that I did do, that I have photos, that I have clear recollections of doing, didn't happen, really kind of makes me mad, you know? But, you can't live life being mad about stuff. So you just chug on a life. And, one of the things that kept me from releasing or talking about any of that stuff for years is because I was worried about some of the Iraqis being recognized in the photos and some retribution coming to them. And, you know, for better or worse, I tell people I try not to get involved with brand name politics because uh, most people that do brand name stuff pay extra for the same functionality, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm a simple person. Um, there is some brand name stuff I'll stretch for, but that's because there's a certain amount of quality that is hard to find, and that's for a specific, not for a general brand name. And yeah, I think a lot of brand names will take advantage of that name and let their quality slip and try and sneak stuff in on you. But it's sad. I hope um, we in the U.S. continue to have good discussions and open forums with our political people and each other, and not, you know, don't get mad all the time. Just think about it, talk about it, have a discussion. You know, and I was having a conversation about a road rage incident, which it just blows my mind that Panama City, Florida, small town that I've just adopted and come to love, we had a road rage incident right up the street. It really shocks me, but you know, I as a veteran, you get to see some of the worst parts of things, you know, and um, my '05 deployment, not the '03, not the Thunder runs. I tell people one of the things we did was um, the Shias and the Sunnis, they would, one mosque would kill some other people and they would take the bodies and put them on display in front of the other mosque. So we would have to go clean that up so it wouldn't upset people. But then, there would be a revenge killing, and it just goes on and on. And, that's the kind of stuff I just have no interest. It's not something I want to see, that kind of violence here in our country. But, um, anyways, stuff like that. That's why I take a vested interest in my community. And the upcoming episode with one of the candidates for the mayor, Alan Branch, who I know through a total different thing, and I've told him I think it's pretty wild that he is doing the whole politician thing, and my hat's off to him because he had an opportunity at a point to go somewhere else, but he chose to invest back in the community here that he grew up in instead of, taking his success in the software industry and putting it somewhere else. So, I think it's great. I did not know who I was going to vote for until this morning, and I got this nice little piece of mail, and it said Doge 2.0. Doge, yeah. And then I open it up, and I get re-elect Doc Rohan. Alan Branch is Trick Daddy, LLC. So, yeah, and it says Trick Daddy uses public property for personal gain. And it goes on all about this Trick Daddy. And as a veteran, my sense of humor is a little bit dark. So I'm having to restrain myself from making shirts up for Alan saying that he's the Trick Daddy. But um, yeah, I don't know where this came from. All I know is that it says Doge 2.0 has a PO box. Anybody can get a PO box. We'll see if we ever find out who's got this PO box. Um, but with all the current stuff going on, and pretty much, I guess I'll say it, anger or something towards government employees where it's like, hey, just get rid of them. And, I'm a government employee. And, when I was military, I was pretty much a government employee. And I've really enjoyed my time not being a government employee, but sometimes it's what you have to do. And if you care about your community, the government is the representation of the community and how you want it to go forward. And that's why, I tell people the United States has had plenty of revolutions that didn't involve violence. And I don't know if people realize in history when women were given the right to vote. And it was like, man, that just like happened. And you look back on history and it's like, yeah, they could have gotten a lot worse than that, but things change. So, you know, we'll see what happens. We got this episode coming out with Alan. I hope maybe the county commissioners will like to do a little get to know you for a local podcast, especially because I'm going to be voting in it. And, I signed the petition for Doc so that he wouldn't have to pay. So, you know, I got no problem. I just want to have a discussion. And hopefully maybe we'll get Doc on too before the election. And we'll work hard to get get everything out there. And yeah. So, but like every election, I'll be glad when this one's over. And yeah, honestly, I'm really glad that we've gotten to this point where, and when I tell people it's the day we stop shooting people, and um, yeah, you know, I remember that guy with a flower. He was walking up to me, and we had no clear ROE. Nobody expected us to succeed. We were sent there and not expected to succeed. And I've seen it and read it over and over about how we took Baghdad too quick and that all the other plans behind it weren't there. And it's like, hey, get with the program and you make do with the best you got. And, you know, I miss Derek terribly. We got to go on. That's all for today.